So look, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to listen very closely to what I'm going to tell you right now. I want you to think about the last time you watched a video from the start to the finish. No pausing, no checking your phone, no opening another tab, just start to finish. You're struggling to remember one, aren't you? Because here's the reality. The average person watching a screen right now has an attention span of 47 seconds. Not minutes, seconds. In 2004, this number was 2.5 minutes. In 20 years, we have lost 70% of our ability to focus on one singular thing. And here's the name for what is actually causing this. Oxford Dictionary made it the word of the year. You have probably used it yourself without knowing exactly what it means. Brainrot. And today I'm going to show you exactly what it is doing to your cerebral cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision making, memory and focus. And more importantly, what you are going to actually do about it. So stay with me. Now, real quick, because if you do not know me, you're probably wondering who is this guy and why is he qualified to talk about this. My name is Tim Ginger, and I want to be very honest with you about something. A year ago I was in the exact same place you probably are right now. I could not finish a 10-minute video without checking my phone. I could not sit through a meal without picking it up. I could not read 3 paragraphs of anything without my brain screaming at me to do something else. I was not lazy. I was not stupid. My brain had just been completely rewired by years of consuming content designed specifically to destroy my attention span. And when I actually measured it, my screen time was sitting at over 7 hours a day. 7 hours every single day. Gone. So I went deep into research. I studied what is actually happening inside my brain. I made changes based on the science, not the usual advice. And I cut my screen time by over 40%. Not by deleting apps, not by willpower, but actually understanding what was happening and fixing it at the source. That is what this channel is about, and this is why I'm here. Now, let me tell you what brainrot actually is. So look, most people use the term brainrot as a joke. Oh, I have been watching Italian brainrot for 3 hours, ha ha ha! And if you not have seen Italian brainrot, it's exactly what it sounds like. AI generated completely non-essential videos. A giant spaghetti monster fighting a talking toilet in Rome. Absolutely zero logical content. Just pure visual chaos on a loop. And people watch it for hours. But here's what nobody is actually talking about. Brainrot is not just a funny internet term. Oxford Dictionary chose it as the word of the year because it describes something that is genuinely and measurably happening to an entire generation of people. The official definition is the precise deterioration of a person's mental and intellectual state as a result of overconsumption of material considered to be trivial and unchallenging. The precise deterioration of your mental state from consuming trivial content? That is not a joke. That's a diagnosis. Here's the thing, it does not just happen to people watching Italian brainrot. It happens to anyone consuming short-form content at a volume that most people do today. Every TikTok, every reel, every YouTube short, every 30-second video that ends before your brain has even finished processing what it just saw, and then immediately starts the next one. That is brainrot in action. And what it is doing to your brain tissue is something you need to hear right now. So here's the actual science. And I'm going to make this as simple as possible because this stuff genuinely changed how I think about everything. Your cerebral cortex is the outer layer of your brain. It's the part responsible for attention, decision making, memory formation and complex thoughts. It's essentially what makes you a functional, intelligent human being rather than just a creature responding to stimulation. Now, here's what research is finding about people who are consuming high volumes of short-form content over extended periods of times. The cerebral cortex is physically shrinking, not metaphorical, not as a figure of speech. The grey matter, the actual tissue, in the areas responsible for attention and impulse control shows measurable reduction in people who are heavily consuming of rapid short-form media. Think about what that means. Every time you watch a 15-second video, your brain does not have the time to fully process it before the next one starts. You're training your brain to expect this pace. You are training it to be uncomfortable with anything slower. You're training it to demand the next hit before the current one is finished. And over time, over months, over years, the natural pathway that supports deep, sustained attention literally weakens from lack of use. You know, if you stop going to the gym, your muscles are getting smaller. Same principle, completely different body part. Your attention muscle is literally shrinking in real time. And then you sit down to do something that actually matters, read a book, finish a work project, have a real conversation. And you wonder why it feels impossible. It feels impossible because the part of your brain that makes it possible has been shrinking. Now here's the slide I could not stop thinking about. In 2004, the average attention span on a screen time was roughly about 2.5 minutes. That was already not good. Today, it's 47 seconds. 47 seconds. In 20 years, we have lost over 70% of our capability to focus. 70%. And the content is getting shorter to match, which makes your attention span even shorter, which makes the content even shorter, which makes your attention span shorter again. It's a spiral. And most people are somewhere in the middle of it right now without realizing it. Now look, let me give you a quick test. Not a real medical test. Just a quick honest check. In the last week, have you started a video and skipped it in the middle because the beginning was kind of too slow? Have you opened your phone with a specific intention and then completely forgot what the intention was 30 seconds later? Have you sat down to read something and reread the same paragraph 3 times because your brain refuses to absorb it? Have you been in a real conversation with real human beings and felt the pull to check your phone even though you know you should not? If you said yes to any of these, you're not alone. And I myself said yes to all 4 of them. And so does almost every person I know. That's not a character flaw, that's a measurable neurological response to the environment the apps have created. And here's the good news. The brain is plastic. It changes based on your input. The same mechanism that allows it to get worse can allow it to get better. But only if you change the input. Now look, there are 2 types of persons watching this video right now. The first type nods along, feels genuinely motivated, thinks, okay, this time I'm actually going to change. And then 45 minutes later, they are back on TikTok and nothing is different. The second time actually does something about it. And I want you to be really honest with you. Because I used to be the first type. I consumed so much content about focus, productivity and fixing my attention span. I watched the videos, I read the articles, I felt motivated every single time. And then nothing changed. Because motivation without a system is just feelings. And feelings pass by. The difference between the person who actually fixes this and a person who stays stuck is not intellect. It's not willpower. It is whether you have a structured system or not. So let me show you exactly what the system looks like. There are 3 phases to going from where you are right now, mentally fried, scattered, 47 attention span, to what I call monk mode. Fully locked in, deep focus on demand, actually getting the things done that matter to you. Phase 1 is the reset. This is where you stop the bleeding. You are not trying to build anything yet. You're just removing the impulses that are actually destroying your attention span every single day. The late night scrolling, the first thing in the morning phone check, the background noise of constant notifications. You cut all of them out for a deliberate period of time and you let your dopamine baseline start to drop back to something normal. This phase is generally uncomfortable. Your brain is going to feel generally bored and restless. That discomfort is the detox working. Push through it. 2. The rebuild. Now that your baseline has reset, you start deliberately rebuilding your attention capacity. 10 minutes of boredom on purpose every single day. One long-form piece of content every day with no phone nearby. Gradually expanding the minimum length of anything you consume. You are doing a therapy for your cerebral cortex, rebuilding the gray matter through sustained use. This is where you start to feel the difference. Things that feel boring before start to feel interesting. Work that feels impossible starts to feel unmanageable. Phase 3. Lock in. This is where the new baseline becomes the default. You build the daily structure that protects your focus permanently. Not through willpower, not through environment design. The decisions are made in advance. The system runs itself. And you stop fighting your phone because your phone stops being interesting for you. This is the full arc. Reset, rebuild, log in. And when you go through all 3 phases properly, and I have done it myself, everything changes. Not just your screen time, your work, your relationships, your capability to actually be present in your own life. Now look, I have built a complete 21-day system, an app that walks you through all 3 phases, step by step, 30 minutes a day, everything mapped out, so you don't have to figure it out yourself or rely on motivation to keep going. It's called Dopamine Shutdown Academy, and it's the exact protocol I use personally to cut my own screen time by 40%. $17, 7-day money back guarantee. Do the work and see nothing. Every cent comes back to you. No question asked. So tap the link below. And if you want to take the 3 phases I just gave you and build your own system from that, do that. Everything I just told you is real. Go use it. So ladies and gentlemen, your brain is not broken. It just has been fed the wrong thing for a very, very long time. You came here with a 47-second attention span and you stayed much longer. It's actually coming back already. So I see you inside the program, and like always, I'm rooting for your success.